All right, some breaking news out of Chicago developing right now. Jurors apparently are back at it, day 14, and still debating the former Illinois governor's fate. Reports say that they're deadlocked on at least 12 of 24 charges. Is Rob Blagojevich going to walk? Is he going to beat this thing? Fox News legal analyst Bob Massi is out of Las Vegas today. Good morning, Robert. And defense attorney. I'm doing fine. Fox News contributor. She's in Chicago, so you're in the belly of this legal beast. Bob, is he going to walk? Is he going to beat it?
You know, a couple weeks ago when I was on with you, Bill, I thought that this is a very complicated indictment, very complicated case for jurors to sift through, and that although a lot of people thought it was a slam dunk, I think it's going to be difficult ultimately to get him on all counts. It's interesting what's going on right now with the jury, which we'll talk about, but at this point in time, I thought it was a lay-down case because it's very complicated.
Tamara, you agree with that? Complicated, difficult to follow? Is Blago going to walk?
Well, I've said from the beginning that this is complicated, and I think it was very, very hard for the prosecution to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt on all 24 counts. And even though Patrick Fitzgerald said in his press conference that Lincoln was going to roll over in his grave, that he stopped Blagojevich from this massive crime spree, these comments, and those really aren't proving to be, you know, the case right now. I mean, we're on day 14 and still no verdict.
Day 14. And they have to listen to those tapes every day, or you think they might. All those beeps and bleeps. Now, Bob, Tamara's the defense attorney. I can understand where she's coming from, but you're kind of on the other side of this. I don't quite follow how you're able to see the wiggle room. I mean, have prosecutors at this point failed?
Well, you know, remember that per se there wasn't necessarily money exchange, although that is not necessarily the element of the crime. And you would think when you hear the audio tapes that that would be enough. But beyond a reasonable doubt in this case, and all of these counts, Bill, is not an easy burden to meet. And even though he is a miserable defendant to have to represent, has violated everything that criminal defense lawyer crazy, even though you're in that room of those 12 people and you must prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. I'll tell you what I'm surprised at, and I know how Tamara feels about this. I'm surprised that the court has allowed the jury to take the actual transcript into the jury room of one of the witnesses. It has been my experience that there is a reread in the courtroom, but not physically give a transcript to read. I was surprised at that in this case.
So you're saying that does not happen, Bob?
I generally speak, in any reread of cases I've tried, if the jury comes in, they read the testimony, and then they go back and deliberate, but they don't necessarily have the paper level there.
Tamara, if you agree with that or not, go ahead and weigh in here. But why would that be with that transcript?
Well, I agree with Bob in this. I think that there absolutely should have been the transcript given to the jury. Interestingly, the first week the jury asked the judge for the entire transcript of the trial. So now they've come back and they've said 13 days later or 2-3 weeks later, hey, can we have just one witness? Well, you know, are they going to come back tomorrow or today and say, hey, can we have another witness because now we're confused about what somebody should say? Remember, the jury has a duty to take notes and deliberate based on their notes and their memory. We cannot start giving these transcripts piecemeal, piece by piece, because now we're messing with the entire jury process. I couldn't disagree with the judge's decision more.
If that's the case, you guys are setting up an interesting argument for an appeal. Well, go ahead, Bob.
And real quick, Bill, that's exactly right what you just said. If there's a conviction, that's what the criminal defense lawyers objected to, Bill. They said, wait a second, we don't mind a reread necessarily, but don't give them the and I'll tell you why, Bill. When you as a juror have the transcript in front of you and rereading, then it subjects you to different kind of interpretations. And that's not the way the system works. If he gets convicted, I suspect that surely will be one of those issues to go up to say,
Bill, can
that
I say
could be
one
potentially
thing?
reversible
Make
error.
it quick. We're out of time. Tamara?
Sure. Just really quickly, one of the other problems with this testimony is that this witness, Bradley Tusk, he was actually a very credible witness. He was not testifying on immunity or on so the defense is really upset because this was like one of the best witnesses the prosecution had.
Bradley Tusk was the former deputy governor there in Illinois. You've heard Tamara, thanks. Bob, thanks.
Hey,
Back to the tapes
sir.
they go, I guess. See you later. Day 14 and count.
All right, man.